So the part one, we have the prospecting, then followed by contact, then presentation last week. And today we're going to have the follow-up, okay? All of them are very important. And really the thing that will change everything in us will be what you call the proper follow. Imagine if every one of us will be able to do the right follow-up, the passion to follow up, then I'm sure whatever we would like to have in our life, okay, we'll be able to achieve it. So welcome for tonight's training, the follow-up. So hello, Bettina. Hello, hello, Elenita, and hello, May. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay.
Good afternoon, Tito Marty.
Yes, good
Sorry,
afternoon. It's okay.
na traffic. Pasensya
Oh,
na po.
wow. Okay, don't worry. Na-traffic din kami. Oh, sige. All right, it's okay. It's okay. All right, welcome. It's nice to have you here today. Okay. So we are now in our step 4. Okay. The importance of follow-up. So the purpose of this is to give every prospect the best chance to get signed up to become an associate and or become a client. Now, what is the importance of the follow-up? A lot of people, they made a call, they made a sale, and then they shook hands and no more follow-up. Once you don't do the follow-up, then whatever you have started will never have a closure. The follow-up to the presentation is as equally critical as controlling the point of contact when making the contact. The main focus of the follow-up is always to motivate prospects to join ePower as an associate and or become a client. So it all deals with the follow-up. So everything lies on the follow-up. Remember, when you order something and you will not follow up, there will now be what you call the sense of urgency will not be there for the client or even for whom you ordered the item to, for the delivery to be there right away. So the follow-up is one of the key to become successful in this business. When the follow-up is properly executed, you will help save people from themselves and recruit a higher percentage of prospects. As a byproduct of running the system, you will also bring in a greater number of clients. Those who join usually became clients, and those who don't join usually become clients as well. Now, each meeting has a slightly different follow-up, but they all lead to the step 5, which we're going to tackle next week, which is the fast start. This is where we get prospects to a fast start interview. Now, always conduct drill for skill training sessions on conducting successful follow-up interviews with all your leaders to simulate real contact with prospects like what we did for the contact. These focused training sessions give your leaders the confidence to know exactly what they should say and the confidence to do each and every time. Meaning to say is that nothing is so important than practice. You just have to learn how to practice, to be perfect on it. Just like riding a bicycle. Of course, on the first time you do it, all right, there'll be some scratches that you're going to encounter, and yet you keep on practicing. Just like on the follow-up, not only you practicing, but your whole group. You have to drill your whole group for this. That's the only time that they will know the importance of the follow-up. They will know, oh, so without follow-up, nothing will happen. Okay, we have to master the follow-up if you would like to become successful. This that ensure that you and your leaders master the art of the follow-up to maximize the results from all the BOPs of your team that you conducted with. Now, the follow-up steps varies depending on the type of presentation you choose. But one thing does not change. You must follow the same process for every meeting. The same process for every meeting. I'd like to share to you the 8-speed filters. It is a key component of the system is the 8-speed filters. These filters help you to determine how serious a new prospect is and about the business, how really would like to join or to touch the water in the business. A serious prospect will move rapidly through each of the filters to get on the path to success. while a less committed one or less serious person will essentially filter themselves out by not progressing to the next filter. Now, don't take this personally, okay? It's just an indication of their level of interest. The filters also help you as the leader guide each prospect through the proper steps to get on the path to success. Speed filters 1 to 4 are covered in this chapter, and those are what we call the prospecting, contact, presentation, the follow-up. Okay. Then, as we go to detail of the step 4, the follow-up. But trust us, use the filters and the scripts below to give your prospects and you the best chances for success. For speed filters 5 to 8 will be covered in the next chapter, the step 5. That will be next. Oh, we will not have that next week. It will be Thanksgiving, a week after next. Okay, we'll have that. Okay. Now, here are the step 4 follow-up. Complete filters from 1 to 4, and you have to do this in the first 24 to 48 hours. When you have a meeting, stay after the meeting because there'll be some questions. Probably the one that you invited have some questions in their mind that they like to clarify, to clear it out. That's why you have to stay. Don't be in a hurry in going home, all right? Now complete the questionnaire, then set fast start interview. And very important, keep the appointment. Now, for the step 5, which we're going to tackle a week after next, that sign up and get code number, develop a prospect list, start building a team, review a personnel plan. This will be on the week after next. We're going to cover that. Now, the private business reception of the PBR follow-up. So everything that we have, we'll have to have a follow-up. Okay. Now, as soon as the PBR ends, be sure and ask each attendee to complete a PBR survey to help gauge the areas of interest. If the prospect wants to join immediately, sign her up and then set a date for their fast start interview or a fast start class. Now, if the prospect decides not to join, at the least fill out the needs analysis data form to analyze their current plan and set an appointment to get with them to review the results. Remember to also ask for referrals of anyone they know who would like to save money or make extra money. The PBRs are a great tool to help build your business. You get to see families you know well in your home in a comfortable and relaxed environment. Okay. So, and the group BOP follow-up, as soon as the group BOP ends, the follow-up begins. Once again, once the presentation of the BOP ends, the follow-up begins. It's not tomorrow, it is the now. As we just covered, the presenter issued a challenge to the new guest to meet with the person who invited them to set an appointment to the fast start interview with his or her leader in the next, how many? 24 to 48 hours, where everything's still fresh, okay? Many people say the wrong thing when the meeting ends, which can dramatically affect your results. The tendency is to say something like, so what did you think? This response puts the new guest in the proper position, and you lose control of the follow-up. It opens a door for a guest to revert to the human nature tendencies of procrastinating, the procrastination, and making excuses. Instead, follow this time-tested script below, all right? So you have to ask them, so wasn't that great? All right, let's get with Anthony to set your appointment. If they say okay or yes, take them to your leader. Let us say your leader's name is Anthony. Tell them, Anthony, this is George. I want you two to meet so we can set a time for their return appointment. Now, if they said, no, I'm not interested, most people will do that. No problem, tell them, but I promised Anthony that we would say goodbye before we left. Then take them to your leader and say, Anthony, this is George. We wanted to say goodbye before we left. Now remember, each and everyone will be helping each other, because once you say that, this indicates to the leader that the invited or the inviter needs help. The prospect didn't want to set an appointment and doesn't seem interested. Now, this is the leader's job now. Now, the leader then takes over, shakes a guest's hands, and in a polite but assertive manner, and say, hey, George, it was great having you out tonight. Is tomorrow or the following day better for us to get together so we can take the next step? If the guest gives the leader a time, set the appointment immediately. Now, if the guest hesitates or makes an excuse, when she said, well, I'm not interested, this isn't for me, the leader then says politely, why not? Okay. All right. Now, the leader then has a chance to address concerns, clear up objections, and answer questions, possibly still getting the new guest to join. At the very least, if the prospect decides he doesn't want to join ePower Financial, the leader can help the inviter set up an appointment for complementary financial needs analysis to possibly get him or her as a client. So nothing is lost. So it's very important. You make a follow-up and bring them or him or her to your leader. If the new guest stays, sets an appointment with the leader right away and keep that appointment. You know you have a serious person by then. If a guest leaves quickly or doesn't set an appointment, then don't waste your time. Okay? Don't waste your time. Some will not. So what? Then next. Okay? Either the timing wasn't right or the business just wasn't for them. Move on to the next person on your prospect list. Remember, there's a lot of fish in the ocean. Now, on virtual presentation follow-up, because most people will be doing the virtual right now. As soon as you log off from the virtual presentation, you need to start calling your guests immediately. Not tomorrow, not later on, not after 15 minutes, immediately. They will be expecting a call since the presenter issued a challenge to the new guest at the end of the meeting to set an appointment with the person who invited them for the follow-up interview with their leader within 24 to 48 hours. You know, just like in a group presentation, when you call your guest, resist the tendencies to say something like, so what did you think? Don't ever use that sentence, okay? This question puts the guest in a power position and you lost control of the follow-up. It opens the door for guests to revert to their natural tendencies. And what is that? Procrastination or making excuses. Okay, you even guided them to make the excuse. Okay, so call the new guest and say, hey, George, wasn't that great? Let's get you on the phone with Anthony. That's the name of the leader. So we can set up your appointment. If they say okay or yes, immediately tie them to the leader on a three-way call and say, hey, Anthony, I have George here on the phone with me right now, and I wanted you two to meet so you can set a time for their follow-up appointment. Now, if they say no or makes excuses, say without hesitation, no problem. Remember, I promised Anthony, that's my leader, that I would introduce you to when the presentation ended. Let me connect him or her with us. Hold on for a second, okay? Then tie in the leader on a three-way call and say, hey, Anthony, I have George here on the phone with me now, and I promise I wanted to make sure you two met. Now, remember, once you do this, this is a very critical part here. This is the sign to the leader that the inviter needs help. If I'm the one inviting, that I need help. The prospect didn't want to set an appointment and doesn't seem interested. Now, this time, Anthony or who the leader that you have will take over. He will say, hey, George, it was great having you on the webinar tonight. Is tomorrow or the following day better for us to get together so we can take the next step? If the guest gives the leader a time, set the appointment. If she or he hesitates or makes an excuse like, well, I'm not interested, or this isn't for me, the leader then say politely, why not? This gives the leader a chance to address concerns, clear up objections, and answer questions. The leader may still be able to recruit the guests to e-Power Financial. Now, at the very least, if the prospect decides he doesn't want to join e-Power, the leader can help the inviter sign the guest up for complimentary financial needs analysis needs and possibly get him or her as a client. If a new guest sounds excited, sets an appointment with the leader, and keeps that appointment, then you know you have a serious person. If they don't want to set the appointment, then don't waste your time trying to get them to join. Either the timing wasn't right or the business just wasn't for them. Move on to the next person on your prospect list and possibly follow up with them later. Okay, so remember, you have to have a ready prospect list. So if one or two turns you down, it's okay. You still have 28 because we asked you to prepare your top 30, right? All right. Now, on a one-on-one presentation follow-up, okay? When the one-on-one ends, it's time to move a prospect to a recruit decision and set up their follow-up appointment. If the prospect wants to join immediately, sign him up right there on the spot and then set a date for his fast start interview. Now, if they decide not to join, try to get them out to a group BOP or at least try to get them to become a client. Don't forget to ask for referrals of anyone they know who would like to realize the dream of financial independence. Here's a sample script for that. As you can tell, these concepts will have a dramatic impact on your financial future. The amazing part is that most people have never even heard of e-Power Financial. Now, who do you know that at least needs to have a chance to hear our story so they can have the same opportunity that you did to learn what it can do for them? Private BOPs are a great tool to help build your business. You get to see your families, your friends in their home and sit down for a great breakfast or lunch meetings or even dinner, okay? All right, near your prospect places or employment. So that is the best part because this is your warm list. For the follow-up conclusion, it's very important to know that, number one, even though you make a follow-up, but if you don't have this, there will never be a successful follow-up. And what's that, what you call the big E, the enthusiasm. Enthusiasm is the key. Let your enthusiasm and passion show when you conduct the follow-up. If you appear nervous or hesitant, the new guest will pick up on this. Follow the scripts and maintain control of the conversation. Always remember that you have to be aware of the natural human tendencies, okay? No matter how excited someone gets about the e-Power story, some people will naturally revert to their natural human nature tendencies of, we talk about that, procrastination and excuses. You must save them from themselves by using the assertive approach outlined in this section to help them take the next step. Remember, always drill for skill on the follow-up. Take time to train all, not only one, all your leaders on how to conduct the follow-up. Don't assume they will just figure it out. Simulate with them, practice with them. There's the script that you have to follow. Just read it over and over until they know it completely and have the confidence to do the proper follow-up every time. That they will even dream about it, okay? Now, our challenge to you is to master the follow-up to maximize your results in all areas. Get strong commitments and set the direction for each new associate. And if they don't join, be sure and help their family with a free needs analysis to help them better plan for the future. They might not become your associate now, but they can be your client and become an associate in the future. So I'd like to say thank you very much for being here today, for taking up our step 4, which is the follow-up. So thank you once again. And I will see you on Saturday at 1 o'clock for our BOP. All right? So we will not have the BFS on next Thursday. In advance, happy Thanksgiving. Don't eat all the turkeys. All right.